He asks Shiki to take the ball and head to the academy. However, just as they are about to make contact, a small pink creature comes running there at great speed and stops right in between them. Nato immediately pauses the test, telling them that they shouldn't fight when Muku, their high-speed courier delivery pet, is here with them. He knows that Muku is dispatched only when there is an emergency, and he activates the radio on its back to receive a request for backup from the Kyoto branch that is under attack by the Momotaro Agency. Outside the test zone, the rest of the students are patiently waiting for their turn, thinking that Shiki and others failed because it is already past the time limit. However, Nato returns along with Shiki and Jin just then, telling the other students that the Kyoto branch is in serious danger, and it is requesting backup, so they are heading there instead of conducting the test. They immediately get on a boat and head towards the Kyoto branch, and the students have mixed opinions about being on actual battlefields so quick. However, Nato tells them that they won't be fighting, and he only needs them to support the actual fighters. Soon, they reach Kyoto and Nato leads them to the area around a famous temple, saying that the Oni agency base is located right underneath it. He takes the students to an ordinary-looking restaurant, where a creepy old woman welcomes them. Once they reach the living room, the old woman reveals a secret underground staircase that will lead them to their destination. Meanwhile, at another location, Tsubakiri, a captain of the Momotaro Agency, has just finished hunting down a unit of Oni. He calls them a bunch of maggots pretending to be soldiers, and his vice Captain Yomogi tells him that he went overboard again. She complains about all the mess he made because it is going to be a pain to clear it, and Tsubakiri replies that he just gets too annoyed when he sees maggots. He wishes that they got to face a female Oni instead because they are resilient and can tolerate more pain than males, which makes them a good choice for his experiments. Yomogi tells him that his experiments are disgusting, and she hates them, especially the thing that is walking towards them. Tsubakiri tells her not to be cold to his favorite creation, which is a blend of a dog, a monkey, and a pheasant. He has named it Ugly, and that is the only thing Yomogi can agree with him on. Tsubakiri says that Ugly is his important research specimen as well as a loyal member of their anti-Oni biological weapons. Mommy Yomogi says that their job is to kill dangerous Oni and save civilians, and he should contribute more to that rather than wasting his time on creepy research. Tsubakiri tells her that Oni blood is a truly fascinating thing, and he is doing his best to help in his own way. He claims that if they can learn how to control Oni blood on their own, it will surely help the Momotaro Agency tremendously, and even better, if they can turn the healing factor of the Oni blood into a medicine. They could become richer than Elan, Jeff, and Zuck combined. Yomogi reminds him that even the Momotaros have similar abilities, and Tsubakiri says that it isn't wise to experiment on people. However, the Oni are maggots in his eyes, and he says that they should experiment on them because simply killing them is a waste. A terrified Oni kid hears all of this while hiding behind the corner, and he tries his best to remain quiet. As soon as he hears the footsteps of the two Momotaro agents head away from him, he takes a sigh of relief, and that turns out to be his fatal mistake because Tsubakiri hears him and immediately comes over to his location. The child freaks out and Tsubakiri decides to take him to the lab. Yomogi tells him that she will knock him out so that he doesn't create problems, but as she is trying to put him to sleep without anesthesia, a drop of blood spills on Tsubakiri's coat. Yomogi realizes that this means trouble, not for her but for the Oni kid. Tsubakiri walks up to him and starts kicking him, saying that even though he is fascinated by Oni blood, it is a filthy thing, and he won't tolerate it on his uniform. He then asks the kid if his parents live nearby and were they part of the group he just killed. On getting no answer, he lifts up the corpses of the Oni nearby to show them to the kid, asking if his parents are here. The kid is too terrified to even speak, and Tsubakiri decides to crush him with the corpses. Yomogi is creeped out by this because out of all the Momotaro abilities she has seen, Tsubakiri's is the most diabolical. The black mist that comes out of their bodies is actually a special bacteria that lives in their blood, and they can use it to create weapons. Tsubakiri, however, can use the bacteria to control corpses, and she still can't get used to it. Soon, Tsubakiri finishes killing the boy, and he tells Ugly to eat the giant Oni dumpling while they go ahead and find more maggots to kill. On the other hand, Shin and other students are walking through a wide tunnel, and Nato tells them that some shops in this area have access to this tunnel that leads to their base. They soon reach the gate that leads them to the space right below the Uryuta Temple, which is fashioned like a traditional Japanese house. The students can't believe their eyes as Nato tells them that this is the headquarters of the Kyoto division of the Oni Agency. Just then, a doctor comes out of a room, complaining about all the work he has to do, but his attitude suddenly changes when he sees Nato. The doctor greets him cheerfully and then starts fixing his hair as he notices the blonde baddie. She turns him down immediately, but that doesn't let the simp's heart get broken because he is actually used to rejections. Shin asks who this clown is and Nato introduces him as Kyoya, the commander of the support unit at the Kyoto base. Kyoya adds that he and Nato were classmates back in the academy, but Nato doesn't have time for his idle chatter. He decides to head to the front lines immediately, and Shin asks him to take him along as well. Other students also want to go with him rather than dealing with a weirdo like Kyoya, but Nato isn't going to listen to them. He tells Kyoya to use these brats as he pleases before he leaves, and just then, the nurse tells Kyoya to get back in and do his work. She notices the students from the academy as well and tells them to get changed immediately because they need all the help they can get. They get dressed as assistant nurses quickly and then go to the makeshift hospital, where dozens of injured Oni are crying out in pain. One of them has been brought in just now, and he has lost both his legs along with some other life-threatening injuries. Shiki is horrified to see his condition, and the nurse also says that he has at most 3 minutes left to live at this rate. Kyoya just smiles at him and says that they won't let him die, and Shiki snaps at him, asking him not to make such careless and fake promises. Kyoya appreciates his honesty and kindness, but tells him that he is kind of a big deal here, and he decides to show the kids how real support work is done. In another location, Tsubakiri and Yomogi have just finished dealing with the captain and vice captain of another group. The remaining Oni are terrified of them now, and Tsubakiri is disappointed that he will have to deal with another bunch of nobodies when he was expecting someone strong. Well, his wishes are granted immediately as Nato comes there and quickly activates his ability. Tsubakiri is pleased to see him, but Nato doesn't give him a chance to be happy for too long as he immediately unleashes his killer move on him. The Oni are really glad to see that Nato has come to save them, but Tsubakiri didn't take any damage from the previous attack as he used the dead Oni captain and vice captain as his meat shields. Turns out, he knows Nato already and he talks to him like they are old friends. He asks what is he doing in Kyoto because this is not his area. Tsubakiri then remarks that he has heard of a location where the Oni in Kyoto are gathering, and if he just wipes out that place, the entire problem will be solved. Nato keeps up his poker face as he says that he doesn't know anything about it, and Tsubakiri replies that he will give up if even Nato claims that the place is not real. He then says that he will go for sightseeing around the big temple instead, and Nato panics inside because he knows that Tsubakiri has really sharp instincts. He decides to stop him right here, and gets ready to fight seriously. Back in the headquarters, Kyoya inserts multiple blood pipes into his body and Shiki asks if they shouldn't be giving that blood to the injured instead. The nurse tells him to shut up and watch as Kyoya heads over to the most severely injured man. He asks him if he wants his hands or feet to regrow because he can't afford both right now. The man summons every bit of his strength to say that he wants his arms so that he can hug his children again. Kyoya promises that he will be able to do that, but this process is going to hurt like hell. He then slices his wrist open to pour his blood into the injured man's mouth, claiming that it boosts the healing ability of a normal Oni by many times. As soon as his blood starts showing effect, the man starts screaming in pain, and the nurse tells the students to hold him down. Shiki and others immediately follow her orders, and in the meantime, she tells the others to get more blood from the next room. Soon after that, something starts poking through the man's bandaged arms, and Shiki creeps out as he sees something that vaguely resembles human fingers. Other students get back too, and then suddenly, the injured man regenerates his arms, and even the severe burn wounds on his chest heal completely. Shiki immediately heads over to Kyoya, asking if they can regenerate his legs too, and he affirms but adds that they need to do it over time and using small doses of his blood. Since he has already consumed too much blood, the injured guy may develop antibodies if he drinks any more of it. Kyoya then heads over to the patient, telling him that he will be retired from the combat unit now, but he can join the support unit to help others out. He says that with a pair of prosthetics, he will be playing with his kids in no time, and the man is moved to tears on hearing that.